Talking sports with Nooner and Forrest. Let the madness begin, my friend. We are here. We are actually in two totally separate time zones right now. This is the second time in history that we've done this. The last time we did this, I was in Orlando, which I'm, as you can see, I'm back in Orlando right now. This is just the background. I'm just trying to get the Florida vibes here. Okay, this is
Yeah,
just the
I see
background.
that.
I'm not really hearing the ocean. Is I say the ocean is not really right here. I just think it's an awesome background. However, I am here in Orlando, and Brad, I believe you were in Texarkana. Is that correct?
I am back in my old stomping grounds of where I was the last 7.5 years, Texarkana, visiting some good friends and people here and everything else. So kind of having more of a staycation this week, which that's all right with me. I like staycations at times, and so kind of enjoying having a Sunday off. So I had a Sunday off this Sunday too. So it's
There you
good.
go.
All good day. So
There you go. I've got my drink here with me, the greatest drink in the world, Pepsi, right here.
I got my Dr. Pepper.
It's a great drink to have, right? Especially when you go to the beach. Even though usually you go to the beach or something like that, that's usually one of those sweet tea type things.
Yeah.
I don't know if the state of Florida even likes sweet tea. I have no idea. So all right, so here
Well,
we go.
good
Uh,
sweet tea with no ice is great.
that is
That's my opinion.
disgusting and
It's not
absolutely
disgusting. It's
ridiculous
great.
unless it's a hot
You,
tea
you need to
coming off the
try it.
stove,
Everybody needs to try it.
unless it's
It's
hot tea coming off the stove, or unless it's been in the fridge for a little bit. It's
now
absolutely horrible. If
now
you
Ricky doesn't
drink
know what you're
if
missing.
you drink a lukewarm tea with no ice, you have some
You
issues.
get the flavor. You get all the flavor you
The
want with the
flavor
sweet
my
tea.
ass. There was no
Yeah,
flavor in there. There's
because
no flavor in
the
that.
because the ice waters it down. But you want that good sweet flavor of tea, and that's what you get with no ice.
If it's refrigerated, I agree. It's got to be either refrigerated or hot. It can't be lukewarm. Don't you read your Bible?
It's not lukewarm; it's room temperature.
Lukewarm.
That's the different.
Lukewarm.
There's a different room temperature in lukewarm.
We're going to poll this. We're going to poll this on Facebook. It's, it's going to happen. We're going to poll this on Facebook.
Just like we're gonna poll if we can cover hockey.
Gosh, I swear people say, yes, let's cover hockey. I'm done with the show. Find you a new partner, call it Forrest and whoever the heck wants to join you. I'm done. I'm not doing hockey. It's not happening.
Oh man.
However, we did start our vacation off right with Memphis on Friday night, though. We did go see SmackDown on Friday night, and The Rock came out. Oh gosh, The Rock was great.
Yeah.
He was terrific as usual. I do have a DA that I have to shout out that I did forget at the end of the show that I forgot to shout out at the end of the show last time. I'm not forgetting this time. I'm not forgetting this time. It was too good. It was too good to leave out, and I should have forgot about it the first time, but it does have to deal with The Rock. And so let's get on to this. So I don't think we got to do this last year. If I'm not mistaken, did we do this last year?
I think yeah, we did this last year. Yeah, we did last year.
Okay, I was about to say because I can't.
I don't think we were as enthusiastic as this year, although because at the time Arkansas was struggling going into the NCAA tournament.
Very
We don't
true,
even have
very
them,
true.
and we don't even have them in the NCAA tournament this year.
We had, let's see, I think there were 3 chances that the Arkansas team had to get to the tournament. All 3 of them got beat. Let's see, UCA lost to Florida Gulf Coast yesterday in the women's, which I expected that Florida Gulf Coast women
Yeah.
win a defeated in conference, and it wasn't even close. I don't think they had many close games at all in conference. UALR lost to who the heck did UALR lose to?
They lost.
It'll come up. It'll come up whenever we go to the bracket because I can. I'll be able to see it as soon as I'll be able to know it as soon as I see it. And then there was one more. I think it was Arkansas State men lost to James Madison. And so
James Madison's really good.
James Madison is really good. I'm telling you, man. As soon as I saw James Madison, spoiler alert! As soon as I saw James Madison, bam! I'm picking James Madison to win the first round game. I said it. I saw the matchup, and I'm like, I love that matchup. We're gonna go with it. So anyway, yes. So for those of y'all who do not know, this is my favorite time of year. My 2 favorite shows that we do throughout the entire year is March Madness, and then whenever it's time to pick conference champions during college football. When college football season comes up and everything like that. So both of these are by far my absolute favorite. As soon as NCAA tournaments are with, I'm ready to flash forward to football again. And
Yeah.
so
Well,
anyways,
before we flash forward to basketball, right now we got the number one team in the country
that
in
was
the state of
that
Arkansas.
was last one.
Yeah. But let's say we got the number one team in the country right now. So
I got to hit the ball though. That's the thing. They got to hit the ball.
I agree. We 100%.
We have the pitch to go all the way. We don't have the hit though. We do not have the hit to go all the way.
I 100% agree with that. I just want to just bring that up, but yeah, we can talk about.
Like I said, we'll definitely bring that up later. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys hear background noise or anything like that. There are people around. Of course, I'm on the opposite side of the bar area where I got this great fountain Pepsi that you can get at any fountain Pepsi. Known to man, if you like Taco Bell, you get yes, Taco Bell's got some great Pepsi.
Well, I'm in my hotel room, so if you see kids running behind me, I do apologize at this point.
Yeah, my wife was like, "You can do it in the hotel room." I'm like, "I'm just gonna go downstairs." She's like, "Well, you're gonna be loud," and I'm like, "Guess what? They can get over it."
Oh, this is great. This is wonderful. And here's the great thing: we're not one of us is at home because last time I was at least at my house and everything else, and everything else, and so this time we're both.
By the way, shout out to the tornado that missed your house. Shout out to that.
Yeah, and shout out to the work crews that work tirelessly over there. They've been working very hard ever since. There's about 500 houses affected of the tornado. Yeah, over 500 houses affected by the tornado. Man, I'm going to tell you right now. You drive through it right now. Some of the forest has been cleared out because of the tornado, because of trees being uprooted and everything else.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I knew it hurt some businesses. I didn't think it did anything.
Yeah, it hit some houses. It ended up being an EF2 tornado. Matter of fact, on the way to church on Friday, we saw power lines down everywhere. We saw trees down parts of the village. If it was about 2 miles this way, Ricky, it would have been in our direct path. That's how close it was to being right at our house. So
y'all were sleeping at the time. I'm telling you, man, y'all worried me. Like I messaged you, like I know you're usually up late, so I messaged you, just to make sure y'all were okay, because I didn't know a tornado had touched down. And then I'm reading on Facebook, hey, a tornado touched down near Hot Springs Village. Oh crap! Let me make sure Brad. I'm thinking the entire man, Brad Emily. Oh man, they got hit by a tornado. I just know it. I just know it.
Well, we lost power for 18 hours. We were out of power, but there's some still out power till now. The church was okay too, which we were very blessed with that, and our house obviously was okay too. Very fortunate, but there was definitely some. My thing is, well, I think is a great miracle in all of this is there's no reported injuries that we've heard of, and there's no reported deaths that we've heard of. That's really good. But definitely is going to be some cleanup for some time for a little while now, and there's going to be some people affected and their homes affected. So be in prayer for them and their families for sure. So
absolutely. And so we will definitely thoughts and prayers to all those who were affected in Hot Springs Village. And so with that being said, let's dig into it, Brad. So as usual, we've never done the ladies.
We're not really.
We have never done the ladies. Excuse me. Goodness gracious, the cheesecake's coming. Anyway, I had this cheesecake, dude. It was really, really good. It was a cheesecake down here in the hotel. All right, so here we go. So let's start with the left side of the bracket, Regional 1 bracket. We'll just go in order. Regional, and the women, they do Regional 1, Regional 2, Regional 3, Regional 4.
Right.
And we'll just go on. All right, so let's see here. South Carolina has to play the winner. I don't know who the heck that is. I can't tell on my side.
Sacred Heart and Presbyterian.
Go Presbyterian. How about those Presbyterian? Hey,
that's right.
That's right. Let's go Presbyterian. I'm picking Presbyterian to beat South Carolina. Anyway, I'm kidding. Anybody on crack? Anybody with on crack would know not to pick them. Let's see. So all right. So I've got South Carolina in that group. Let's see here. North Carolina, Michigan State. You're taking South Carolina?
Yeah, I'm gonna take South Carolina in that group.
All right.
I mean, I don't see anywhere that's gonna deter. I got them all the way to the Final Four. I don't see anybody in that bracket that's gonna. I mean, there's one team that could give them a run. That's Indiana. Do watch for them. They did beat Iowa earlier in the year. Indiana's a very good team. They were good last year. That is a team to watch for in that bracket. But I would say South Carolina should easily make it to the Final Four. Like I said, the only resistance I see is Indiana.
See, and that's the thing though, Brad. This is where me and you are going to kind of disagree because I think Indiana has everything to do. Everything Indiana has everything that they have all the pieces to beat South Carolina.
They do. They
And
do. I
here's
agree.
the thing, Brad. And this is where Don Staley gets more credit than any coach in the history of all coaches. I've never seen a coach who basically took a brand spanking new team, go undefeated, and now she's in the NCAA tournament. That
Yeah.
does not happen. That does not happen. And so, with that kind of credit, but I have Indiana beating South Carolina in this region. I really believe. Um, I
I
really
respect
believe.
that.
I really believe the Big Ten,
Yeah.
especially on the women's side, the Big Ten is very very tough.
I
And
agree.
so with that, I will pick Indiana to beat South Carolina, and it's not because now just it's going to shock me that if South Carolina goes to the Final Four again. No, but here's the thing, Brad. Brand new team,
Yeah.
they're undefeated. If
Yeah.
they end up going undefeated throughout the rest of this thing, this could probably be the best coaching job I've ever seen from any male or female coach do in the NCAA history. I don't know anyone off the top of my head. I think the only one that you can't really compare it to Jimmy V when he went on that North Carolina State run, and the reason is because he didn't go undefeated.
That was a Cinderella run. Yeah.
That was a Cinderella run. This would not be a Cinderella run. This would be a top powerhouse. Hey, we're going to dominate you run. I mean, you think about it. LSU with Kim Mulkey and them, LSU was able to get all those girls back. Plus, she started getting superstar transfers, and so and she's still losing games. And so, yes, I am actually going to take Indiana. Any upsets on the side of the bracket?
Yeah, I don't have any upsets really. If I'm looking at it just from the top end,
I
I
have
would say
one.
A&M over Nebraska would be one I see, or Florida Gulf Coast over Oklahoma. I can
I,
see that one too.
I'm going to take Florida Gulf Coast over Oklahoma. Oh, like I said, Florida Gulf Coast, Brad. Oh my
They're
gosh,
good. They're good. They're good.
they're the
I
ones
agree.
that beat the UCA women. They beat UCA women twice by 20 plus. Um, I don't think they had many close games. I'd have to go back and look their schedule. I looked at it yesterday because I wanted to see kind of compare how they were doing. But
Yeah.
to me, it just you just never know. Um,
Yeah,
you
I'm gonna
just never.
pick. Yeah, I'll go with you on that one. I like that pick. I'll pick Florida Gulf Coast over Oklahoma in the first round. I like
Um,
that.
wouldn't surprise me if Texas A&M does pull it off, which I don't consider. To me, 11 over 6 is not the biggest upset in the world,
No,
but
well, no, but
it's. I mean, because you're dealing with you're dealing with two power conferences right there
that's
going back
true.
to back. I am going to take Oregon State to beat Nebraska. I'm going to take Notre Dame, and then I will also take. I'm going to have Notre Dame and Indiana in the Sweet 16 out of this region. I'm going to take Notre Dame out of this region and
You gotta
go.
take Notre Dame.
I'm taking Notre Dame out of the region to go to the Final Four on this one.
I think both of us agrees that South Carolina's biggest challenge will be Indiana. If yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, will be Indiana. I'm going to take South. I do think South Carolina make it to the Final Four
that's
because of Don Staley.
that's fair.
Uh, and the reason why is I think also too Don Staley's motivated from last year's team, which came up short. I think she's highly motivated with that as well. So I think she'll have her team ready, and I think South Carolina does make the Final Four.
All right, let's go over to Region 2 real quick. I don't see any big upsets so far over here in Region 2. I do like this Middle Tennessee State ladies team over Louisville. That's the one that I like the most. Um, like I said, not a huge upset, but then again, Middle Tennessee State's not a power. They're not a Power Five conference or anything like that. But um,
Mm-hmm.
as far as anything down, I really don't see a whole lot.
No.
The one thing, Brad, that really worries me about Iowa, though, of all the one seeds, Iowa, if Caitlin Clark if Caitlin Clark is not on point, they struggle. They
Yeah.
struggle badly. She's the best player in college basketball by far, and I don't know a close second right now as far as who's best goes. However, I do think they go all the way to at least the Elite Eight. Well, they will face. I'm going to have them face LSU. I've got them facing Kansas State the Sweet 16 and beating Kansas State. And it looks like I'm going to have them. Oh gosh, UCLA is pretty good too. But I mean
Yeah.
LSU are. Oh gosh, this one's going to be tough because you got Kim Mulkey, you still have all them. You know what? Let's go LSU. I'm going to pick LSU to go to the Elite Eight. So I've got Iowa and LSU and the Elite Eight. And I'm going to take LSU because I think LSU is a more of a round team than what Iowa is.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Ricky. Another game to watch for too is another team in this region to watch for is Colorado. They're a 5 seed, but early in the year they beat LSU earlier in the year. I know it's the first game of the season, but that Colorado team is very good. I like UCLA as a team as well. That the Pac-12 was tough. You want to talk about the Big Ten,
Conference
the
of
Pac-12.
Champions.
I mean, yeah, the Conference of Champions, but I mean, you got USC as a 1 seed, you got UCLA as a 2 seed, Stanford's also a 2 seed in this conference. Oh yeah, Colorado's a 5 seed in the conference, and Utah is also a 5 seed. So definitely a tough conference. So if it gets to the Sweet 16, where it's Colorado, Iowa, be watchful for that. And UCLA is a very, very, very good team, but LSU could have problems in the second round, especially if they play Louisville. Louisville has been very good over the years, and Louisville's no slouch. So I'm going to say that this is a very tough bracket
It really is.
as
It really
far
is.
as teams is, but I'm going to go. I'm going to go with UCLA in this. I got UCLA coming out because I'm kind of
That's
like
fair.
you. Because Caitlin Clark, if she doesn't play well, like you say, she's got to have other players from the team has to support her. And I don't think she has enough support to get through to the Final Four this year.
Yeah, and I think you're right on that. I hate it for her, but it's like she's going to be the number
Yeah.
one pick in the draft. She's already announced this is going to be her final year. But like I said, I mean, Brad. She's just she is so good. She is just so good. I'm rooting for her. I for sure am rooting for her. All right, Region 3. Let's see here. USC is in this region. USC is very, very good. They are usually very, very consistent. I also don't see any huge upsets. Maybe Marshall over Virginia Tech um, as far as the 4-13 goes. But other than that, I really don't see any big first round upsets here.
You're looking at which? Okay, I see where you're
This is
looking at.
Region 3. It's Region 3, which
Yeah,
is right.
you,
I
you
don't.
know, crazy thing is Connecticut's is a 3 seed, but they've been so injury ridden. Man,
Yeah.
they've been really snake bitten this year. Matter of fact, Gino Auriemma, kind of talked about how winning actually has, we celebrate wins more now than we ever have because winning just became one of those things. But even winning games, this year because of how snake bitten they've been, but they're going to have a tough out. That Syracuse team is very good as well.
Yes, they
Um,
are.
I'm going to tell you right now, the women's game, there's a lot of parity in this tournament this year for the first time in a long time. A lot of parity. A lot of teams can get it done, and a lot of teams actually could surprise you and actually get to the Final Four. I'm also looking at that second round possible matchup between Duke and Ohio State. Kara Lawson coaches Duke, and Duke's not a bad team. they're not a terrible team. That's another game I'm looking at. But I'm looking at this. If I had to pick a team, I would say USC does get out of the region. They do make the Final Four for the first time since the '80s. I think since Cheryl Miller was a player at USC. So
Who do you have USC beating to get to the Final Four?
I will. I say they beat. I'm going to say they beat Connecticut. They'll beat Connecticut in the
That's understandable.
Mhm.
That's really understandable. And so
Okay.
yeah, I will have the same exact thing. Now, Carol Lawson give her another year or two, and
Yeah.
she will probably have this Duke team kind of in a similar, not the exact same situation as Don Staley has South Carolina, but I think I think she will eventually get them to be that elite team that Duke used to be for the women. You remember at one point,
Yeah.
you know,
If she stays, the
if
key
she
part for
stays, right?
because I think if Tennessee comes calling, so
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So
All right,
anyway,
let's go to Region 4 real quick. I'm not going to lie to you. As far as the 8-9 matchups go, I don't think it gets any better than Alabama, Florida State. I
yeah.
don't know if you've seen either of these women teams play.
Mm-hmm.
Would
I
not
have.
shock me one bit if either one of those teams beat Texas in the second round. And I know that's stretching it because Texas I think was like 30-3, 30-4, or something like that as far as the women goes. But would not shock me one single bit. Um, let's see here. I'll pick Bama over Florida State. Now,
Yeah.
I am a South Dakota State fan at heart. I love my
Yeah.
South Dakota State Jackrabbits. I'm not picking them to beat Utah, but I am going to call them out because they're going to be on. I have 4 DAs this week, and South Dakota State women. South Dakota State women just made it about 5 minutes before the show started. So,
Yeah.
right below them is Gonzaga and UC Irvine. When UC Irvine saw their name, they jumped up, shouted for joy. They were excited. South Dakota State came up and they're like, yeah, yeah. I mean, they showed no emotion whatsoever. So South Dakota State women's basketball team, you're on my DA list of the week, even though I love my South Dakota State Jackrabbits. I love them. And both men and women are in the tournament this year. So shout out to
Yeah.
that. So let's hear. And I will say this much, Brad. Do not sleep on Gonzaga's women. Oh my gosh,
No,
do not sleep on Gonzaga.
I agree.
I have the beaten Utah in the second round. Um, I really want to pull the trigger for Green Bay, Tennessee. I like Tennessee. I see this improvement with Tennessee because if you go
Yeah.
toward the beginning of the conference, it looked like they were going to be the same old team. No, they bounced back. They did very, very well this year. Green Bay, on the other hand, won their conference. They won their conference tournament, 27-6. Tennessee is 19-12. You look at this. You look at the whole ordeal. If you go, and I understand that Green Bay probably has not played near the schedule, but Green Bay's defense only gives up 57 points per game.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger, and I'm going to pull the trigger and say that Green Bay beats North Carolina State in the second round. I know that's a stretch, Brad, and I could be totally wrong on that. But I love this Green Bay team, and I really believe that they're going to be a Sweet 16 team. But this is where the but comes. This is where the but comes. They're going to have to beat Stanford, and they're not beating Stanford.
See that?
They're not going to beat Stanford.
See, that's why this game is I think this is a very important game for Kelly Harper. Because if Kelly Harper does not win this game, I think her seat's going to really heat up for next year for sure.
If
It
it's
could.
not already heated up.
Yeah, exactly. I want to say this. I think this region here, I think is where you're going to see the upset. So I got Alabama going to the Sweet 16. I have seen Alabama women play, and they are very good. I got them beating Texas in the first round. I got Tennessee beating North Carolina State in the second round. So I do have Tennessee going to the Sweet 16 to play.
I would trust them that far, but hey, that's okay. That's okay.
Well,
That's
I
what
think,
March
yeah,
Madness is all about.
yeah. Well, right, like you said, I think they have improved and they have played a tough schedule. And North Carolina State, they kind of struggled towards the end. I think, I know they made it to the championship game, but they kind of, faltered in the regular season as well. So I think Tennessee can beat North Carolina State, but I got Stanford coming out of the region because I think Stanford, with their coach, which is the all-time leading coach right now, Terry Van Dever, I think that's her name. If I mispronounce it, I apologize. But I think Stanford is a team that is very capable. I believe they won their tournament. Did they win their tournament?
I think USC did.
Okay, USC might have won their turn. But I think Stanford will come out of the region and they'll be in the Final Four. So I got South Carolina versus Stanford, and I got UCLA versus USC in the Final Four.
Let's see here. I'm trying to see. I think USC did. I'll have to look that up here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
think so.
I think USC is good. So this is my Final Four. I have Notre Dame, Stanford, LSU, and USC. That is my Final Four.
Okay, so I got 3 Pac-12 teams. You got 2. So
Jeez, that just tells you how tough the Pac-12 is, though.
yeah, the Conference of Champions.
The Conference of Champions. Let's see here. I've got Stanford beating Notre Dame. I have LSU beating USC. I cannot believe that I'm gonna have LSU back at the title game this year. But here's the thing, Brad. They've got everybody back. Why not?
Yeah, I understand your pick. I got Stanford versus USC in the final.
So either way, Pac-12 is going to have a conference champion for you.
Yeah.
Brad, I hate to say this. I'm picking LSU.
I'll pick LSU. I'll pick Stanford.
I'm gonna pick LSU, and I'm gonna say that the combined score is gonna be 275. 6 overtimes. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I got Stanford beating USC. And I think because Stanford is the more experienced team, especially tournament as far as the tournament as well. I think Stanford, the combined score will be 127. 64-63 Stanford.
Watch my bracket be shredded in the first round.
Probably so.
That's usually how it works.
And I probably will change it when we get to the tournament challenge. But hey, you know. Yeah, I'm only looking at a printed bracket.
All right, so Brad, so here's the thing. So here's the biggest difference between my bracket in the women and my bracket in the men. My bracket in the men's has been finished. But we're still gonna do this. Let's do the same thing. So the interesting thing, let's go to the East bracket first and the men. All right, so we have a couple of interesting things. Number one, it features 3 teams who were in the Final Four last year on one side of the bracket: UConn, FAU, and I'm trying to remember who was the third one.
San Diego State.
San Diego State, yeah.
Yep, they played the finals against UConn.
And so so shout out to that. I do have even though FAU has struggled, I do have them beating Northwestern. And here's the thing. I think FAU played UConn, didn't they? Didn't they play UConn at one point, or was they on another side of the bracket?
You talk about who?
FAU and UConn. Didn't UConn?
Yes, they played the Final Four last year.
Okay. And so I've got UConn. Let's just put it this way. I've got UConn coming out of the region in this one. I have San Diego State rematching with UConn in the Sweet 16. I do have that rematch going on. And I really like this Iowa State team that I saw in the Big 12. Here's the thing. I don't even trust the Big 12. When it comes to Big 12 and the SEC, I don't trust them when it comes to when it comes to the like tournament. And of course, look at this. Iowa State has to play my Jackrabbits in the first round. Who do you think I'm going to root for? I picked Iowa State, but who do you think I'm going to root for? I'm going to root for my Jackrabbits. And so the only other interesting thing that's on this side of the bracket, Brad, Yale did beat Brown on a buzzer beater. And Brown was the 4 seed in the Ivy League. Yale, I believe, was the 2 seed because Brown ended up beating Princeton. I thought Princeton was going to get an at-large bid, but I think with all these upsets, it was over with after that.
Right.
And then the only other interesting thing is Duquesne. Duquesne makes the tournament for the first time since 1977. And so that's a long time. That was a long time ago. That was almost 50 years ago. Anyway, and so I want to pull the trigger and have them beat BYU. I did it. I may change my mind on that. But other than that, this side of the bracket, to me, I chalked it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I basically chalked it with the exception of San Diego State beating Auburn in the second round. Everything else is chalk.
Well, I think Drake is the team to watch here because Drake is a very, very good team.
I do have them beating Washington State, but I have Iowa State beating Drake in the second round.
Well, that's going to be an interesting matchup in the second round. Another interesting matchup too is UAB versus San Diego State. Andy Kennedy, very underrated coach. I mean, very underrated coach. And he got them playing very well right now and at perfect time. And if they play Auburn, they definitely could. They could actually make the Sweet 16. I would not be surprised if Eddie Kennedy made the Sweet 16 with this UAB team. But I'm kind of like you. I think I'm. Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to pick Drake over Washington State. Another game I'm going to tell you too, Ricky, is another one. Morehead State versus Illinois. Morehead State is a very good team. But I believe they are the team that beat Arkansas Little Rock, if I'm not mistaken. It was Morehead State.
Yes, you were right. It was Morehead State.
So I'm gonna pick Drake in an upset, and I'm gonna go for it. UAB will upset San Diego State.
Okay. I like it.
Then I got Auburn beating them. I got a UConn Auburn matchup, which I think will be good, but I think UConn will eventually get past them. I'm saying with you, I got UConn versus Iowa State. I think Iowa State's playing some great basketball, and that's going to be a tremendous matchup. But I do have UConn making it to the Final Four.
One thing I want to shout out before we go to the South region, Stetson, who is the 16th seed on this side of the bracket. First tournament appearance in history, and they beat Lipscomb 80-59.
Yeah.
Arkansas struggled against Lipscomb. I just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah.
Go Stetson. Stetson.
That just shows you the misery. And that's another topic for Razorback fans too. We haven't mentioned yet. Of course, we're doing a tournament special. Will Musselman stay? Because rumor has it he really wants the Louisville job, which I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either.
Yeah, I don't blame him either. And I'll be interested to see if he stays. But anyway, yeah, shout out to Stetson, that's for sure. And shout out to South Carolina. Great season, and they put the misery out of the Arkansas Razorbacks and put us out of our misery finally, of thinking that there might be hope for this team, knowing that there was no hope for this team. And so shout out to South Carolina for finally ending the misery that was the Arkansas Razorback 2023-2024 season. Also, too, my DA is to Vanderbilt because you did not end their season the night before. Come on, Vanderbilt. You were up by 14 points. 14 points. You should have done it. So, my DA of the week.
You gave Razorback fans hope by having us come back, and they thought they were going to win it all.
Exactly. So my first day of the week goes to Vanderbilt Commodores for giving us some hope when we knew there was no hope, because our only hope is in Jesus Christ, not the Arkansas Razorbacks. So there you go. Right. So anyway, Vanderbilt's my first day of the week because of that. But yeah, I got UConn going to the Final Four out of this bracket.
All right, let's go to the South region real quick. Now, Brett, I'm going to go ahead and shout this out real quick. If there's a 16 seed that's going to win this year, it's going to be Longwood.
Yeah,
so here's the thing. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give you some background about Longwood. You ready for this? Longwood has played they played 2 Atlantic 10 teams in the Atlantic 10 Conference. I don't know if you saw their records, but their records were very, very good. The only thing is they didn't play near the non-conference they did in the past, because I think it was last year, the year before, they got like 3 bids out of that conference. This year, I think they only got 1.
Mm-hmm.
St. Bonaventure and Dayton, both teams out of that conference, they lost by 4 and 9 points respectively. And I don't know if you saw Houston in the semifinals of the Big 12, but oh my gosh, they got their ever-loving rear ends beat like crazy, like red-headed stepchildren. Was it the finals?
The finals against Iowa State. Yep, I watched that game.
Oh my gosh, they got their butts whooped. If there's a 16 seed that's going to win, Longwood's going to be the one to do it. I didn't pull the trigger like I wanted to, but Longwood's going to be the one to do it.
Yeah.
So here we go. In this side of the region, I don't have Houston coming out of this.
Me either.
I have James Madison beating Wisconsin. I have Vermont beating Duke. I didn't. I also have North Carolina State beating Texas Tech. I almost pulled the trigger on Oakland. Against Kentucky. Kentucky is not what you would consider they haven't been in NCAA. They have not been one of those threats for the NCAA tournament in a very long time. Even when they were 1s and 2 seeds and 5 seeds and 4 seeds, whatever you call it, John Calipari's done nothing with Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. So let's just scrap them out. I have North Carolina State going to the Sweet 16, losing to Marquette. I have James Madison beat Houston in the Sweet 16. I have Marquette coming out of this region.
Oh, good pick. The 8 and 9 seeds, that's an interesting matchup for me because Texas A&M is a very good team. Although they lost to Arkansas twice. Don't ask me how they lost to Arkansas twice.
That's why I picked Nebraska.
Well, yeah. but that is two good bat teams right there. Nebraska versus Houston is going to be a great second round matchup because Hoiberg is the head coach for Nebraska. And of course, he was the head coach for Iowa State for many years before he went to the NBA. And he's back now in the college level in Nebraska. And he's turned Nebraska around. And that's not going to be an easy matchup for Houston, whoever they play, either A&M or Nebraska. Though one of those two teams can beat them. But I'm agreeing with you. I got James Madison over Wisconsin. I do have Duke prevailing over Vermont. I have Texas Tech beating North Carolina State because I just think North Carolina State's tired. They're going to be, because you play 5 games in 5 days, and then you got the emotional high, and then you have to go next week play the NCAA tournament. I think Texas Tech will beat them. I do have Boise State, Colorado winner beating Florida. Florida's big man has a fractured leg. He entered that today, the SEC
championship. I did not know that. I'm glad you said that. Okay.
So
bye Florida.
Yeah, so I got them. I got the winner of that game beating them. Marquette. I do have Marquette beat Western Kentucky. I'm agreeing with you. I almost think Oakland could beat Kentucky, but I do have Kentucky pulling it out. And out of this region, I do have Kentucky coming out of the region in the Final Four.
You have Kentucky going to the Final Four?
I do have Kentucky on the Final Four. I think Kentucky, and the reason why I say that is Houston, I don't trust them to score enough points to win games. That's with Houston. And Marquette, they can run with them, but can they defend? Because that was their problem against UConn. We know Kentucky can score, and they can score a bunch of points. And if it gets into a boat race, I kind of trust Kentucky and Calipari over Marquette. No offense to Shaka Smart, but I got Kentucky beating Duke in the Elite Eight.
You're trying to get history in the making over here. Okay, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. Okay. All right, let's go down to the Midwest. Another team I do not trust, Purdue.
Of course.
I don't think they're going to lose to the winner of Montana State and Grambling. I don't see it happening. Not this year, anyways. Let's see here. That Utah State TCU matchup in the 8-9 matchup, that's going to be a good matchup.
It really is.
I like McNeese over Gonzaga.
I do too.
I like McNeese over. This is not a Gonzaga team that we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing Gonzaga dominate. They did not dominate the conference like they usually do. Kansas has. I'm surprised Kansas was a 4 seed. I'm going to tell you why I'm surprised Kansas was a 4 seed. Kansas went on this losing streak at the end of the year, and they have looked horrible. They have looked absolutely god awful, terrible.
Well, they have injuries. They have no depth. Actually, I got Samford beating Kansas in the first round.
I like it a lot because I have McNeese beating Kansas in the second round.
And I have McNeese beating and beat Gonzaga too. Will Wade, of course, the head coach of McNeese State. He's the head coach there, and pretty athletic team. I'll give the devil his due. Pretty athletic team there. I like McNeese State over Gonzaga. If you look, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupt you on the rest of your bracket.
No, you didn't. I was drinking a Pepsi.
Oh well, there you go.
All right, what about Purdue? Where do you have Purdue going?
I got Purdue. You know what? I got Purdue. I say Purdue losing. I don't think they make it out of the second round.
Thank you. Who do you have them? Who do you have them? Who do
I
you have
have them losing
to?
to TCU.
I love it. I absolutely
I
love
have them losing to Jamie Dixon. I had them losing the second round to TCU. I got McNeese State and TCU, and and look down the bottom, South Carolina, Oregon. Very good matchup there, by the way. But I'm going to give the edge to Oregon. Dana
Okay.
Ottman, of course, the head coach for the Razorbacks for a day, once upon a time. He is a pretty good coach. But I go have Oregon beating South Carolina. I have Creighton beating Akron. Texas, I think, will beat the winner, Virginia and Colorado State. Tennessee and St. Peter's. I know Tennessee has slipped, but I got Tennessee coming out of the region in the Final Four.
So you got two SEC teams coming out going
I
to the
do.
Final Four. Interesting. Okay.
But
Okay.
it probably changed by Thursday, though.
Probably
So wait and see.
right, change with Thursday. So Akron. So I just want to let y'all know, Kent State is my second DA of the week this week. So I'm going ahead and getting that out of the way. So for those of y'all who do not know how Akron made the tournament, so Kent State went up by 2, and then Kent State fouled Akron. This kid from Kent State fouled Akron because he thought they were still down.
Oh.
Akron made 2 free throws. Ball game over. So,
wow. Well,
I see here's my thing, Brad. And I if I pick, golly, I want to pick Creighton, but I don't like Creighton coming out. I'm gonna say Tennessee comes out of this region as well.
Yeah, I want to pick Creighton too, and Creighton did make. I believe they did make the Elite Eight last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably right.
But Creighton does play out the Big East. You know what? I'm going to go with Creighton. Never mind with Tennessee. Creighton.
Creighton.
Yeah, Creighton.
I'll pull the trigger with you. I'll go Creighton. I'll go Creighton in the Final Four as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that'll give me 3 Big East teams, which we're going to get to that here in a minute. There's something I need to shout out. There's something I need to shout out. Okay. So over in the West region, I do have North Carolina beating the winner of Howard and Wagner. Like I said, if there's any 16 seed that's going to upset this year, it's going to be Longwood over Houston, because Houston's small and they don't score a whole lot. Let's see here. St. Mary's, Brad. That I'm circling St. Mary's because St. Mary's is not really even when they're higher seeds, they don't do a whole lot in the NCAA tournament. I mean, I wanted to pick Grand Canyon, but I think St. Mary's is a little bit more size. I think they're a little bit more athletic than what Grand Canyon is. I do have St. Mary's beating Alabama in the second round. I don't think this Alabama team is very good. Would not surprise me if Charleston beats Alabama in the first round. I almost pulled the trigger on that. I do have New Mexico beating Clemson. Clemson has not shown any recent success in the NCAA tournament.
I agree.
Let's see here. I have the only other big thing that I have Dayton beating Arizona in the second round.
Ooh.
Yes, I have Dayton beating Arizona in the second round. I don't trust Arizona as far as I can throw them. They were a 2 seed last year, got beat. I think they got beat in the first round last year, if I'm not mistaken. And but they haven't shown very high success in the tournament. Then again, it's the Pac-12; they suck. I have North Carolina beating Baylor in the Elite Eight and going to the Final Four. So this is my Final Four. I've got UConn against North Carolina, Marquette against Creighton.
And I will say this. I got Grand Canyon going to the Sweet 16 in this bracket. I got them playing North Carolina.
I like it.
I got Grand Canyon. I like this Grand Canyon team. They're really good. They're really tough. They're very athletic. They actually got a guard that could be an NBA player, wingman, could be an NBA player on their team. So just keep an eye on that. I think Grand Canyon will get past Alabama and St. Mary's. And plus, Grand Canyon does have the geographical advantage compared because they're playing in Spokane, Washington. Why in the world would you want to play in Spokane, Washington? That's middle of nowhere in Washington. Anyway, I agree with you too. I do have New Mexico over Clemson. I have Baylor over Colgate. I'll pick Nevada over Dayton.
Interesting.
That'd be a little different. And in Arizona, I'm with you. I got North Carolina versus Baylor too in the Elite Eight, and I got North Carolina going to the Final Four. So my Final Four is UConn and Baylor. Oh no, UConn and North Carolina, excuse me, and Kentucky versus Creighton.
All right. Let's see here. I've got UConn and Marquette in the finals, and I know that I know UConn's beat Marquette 3 times this year.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a fourth. UConn hardly has any kind of weaknesses whatsoever. And
Yeah.
I know it's very, very hard because now I've got a repeat champion for the women's. I also have a repeat champion for the men's. And I don't see anybody beating this UConn bunch. If anyone's going to beat UConn, it's going to be North Carolina.
I agree.
To me, and this is my opinion, if UConn and North Carolina do end up facing each other in the Final Four, which I do have, if they end up facing each other, to me, that's the championship game. I think that's going to be a better game than what the championship game would be.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, give me UConn over Marquette. I've got UConn repeating as champions.
I'll have UConn a rematch of the 20, I believe, the Kemba Walker game when Kentucky played, or 2000, or not Kemba. It wasn't Kemba Walker. I'm sorry. It was Kevin Ollie that was the head coach for UConn. The only time he had success really at UConn, I think it's 2015 or 2016 when they played Kentucky in the final. So I have a rematch between UConn and Kentucky. And I'll pick UConn over Kentucky because I think UConn can guard better. I'm like with you, Ricky. I don't see a weakness in UConn at all. And I think UConn will repeat as champion, which that has not happened since
Florida.
Yep, 2006, 2007. So I think they'll be the first repeat champion since then.
So, all right, that sounds good. So we have the men's and the women's. Excuse me. Trying to think. Yep, we have the men's and the women's in the entire deal. So this is one thing I'm going to say about the NCAA tournament. I want people to hear me out. I'm not going to say the word snubbed, but I'm going to put big question marks over a few things. One in particular, if you're going to value the Big East, put more Big East teams in.
Yeah.
You have Connecticut, Marquette, Creighton is a 1, 2, and a 3 seed respectively. St. John's, Providence, Seton Hall. Those are 3 other teams who are very, very valuable to the Big East Conference.
Great.
20-win teams, to me, maybe not. Providence had an argument. I believe it was St. John's they were ranked 24th in the BPI.
Yeah.
And they were 32nd for a net ranking. That's supposed to mean something.
Yeah.
And I understand. One of the biggest things I understand is because you had North Carolina State who came back. North Carolina State won the ACC tournament. There was one other one, Oregon.
New Mexico State, New Mexico too.
And New Mexico, those 3 teams right there, if those 3 teams don't do what they're doing, then there's potential 2 or 3, there's potential, at least St. John's, maybe Providence, but I think Seton Hall was one of the other ones that was kind of
they were one of the last 4 out. Last 4
right.
out, Seton Hall was.
So this is what I'm just going to call that out, because to me, when you put more SEC teams in, which I understand is the SEC, but to me, and this is just my opinion, I don't think Northwestern in the Big Ten deserved a bid. That's just me. I don't think. I'm trying to look down here. I don't want to miss anybody. You could have let Colorado out. The Pac-12 is not very good when it comes to basketball right now. You could have left them out. There's others you could have left out. Virginia, you could have left out Virginia, and I'd have been totally satisfied. Colorado State, you could have left out. But to me, you're only valuing you're only valuing three teams from the Big East, and they're 1, 2, and a 3 seed respectively. And
Yeah.
you're not gonna review. You're not even gonna consider the others. And so let me, because I know St. John's. Of course, I know St. John's hasn't had the best. So they kind of went on that little
Rut.
rut, and then they came out of the rut.
Yeah.
They started playing some very good basketball. I know they lost to. I believe they lost to. Trying to remember who they lost to.
They lost to Connecticut in the semifinals by 5 points, 95-90.
And so, I mean, they did have 13 losses. They were fifth in the Big East. I understand that, but it's like you got to do something about this. They lost to UConn by 4 in the regular season at UConn. That's pretty big. I'm trying to see. They had to play them twice, and then they lost. Yeah, and then they lost again. And so Marquette, they didn't beat Marquette, but here we go. But they did beat Creighton. They beat Creighton by 14.
Yeah.
I mean, it just there's certain things you just gotta just ask yourself. If you're gonna value the Big East that much, put more than 3 teams in there. That's just my opinion when it comes to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I got a few observations too, Ricky. Number one, they put 6 Mount West teams in, if you count them, but they're all lower. Man. But they're all lower seeds. They're all. I mean, I think the highest seed is Utah State, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's their 8th seed, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the highest seed that you have for a Mount West team, and there's 6 of them in there. That's number one. Number two, Indiana State was left out. They had a 29 net ranking. That's the lowest net ranking to be left out in the NCAA tournament since I've been doing net rankings has a criteria for the NCAA tournament. So they were a 29 net ranking, and they were one of the last 4 out. So they were the lowest net ranking to be left out in the NCAA tournament was Indiana State. That's number two. Another thing was the chairman did say, I did listen to the interview with the chairman of the committee. They said that they had 5 bid stealers this year. And for the first time, he said that's really the first time they ever really had that since his 20 years, really. And he said, if you compare it to the last 2 years, they only had 3 total combined the last 2 years. So there was a lot of upsets this year in the tournament. Of course, though, if you look at, Oregon was one, North Carolina State was one, New Mexico was probably one, I would imagine. UAB was another one because they probably stole one more bid out of the AAC because the only other team that made it was FAU. And there's probably was one more, Drake, which they came out of the Missouri Valley over Indiana State has a bid stealer there. So you had 5 bid stealers in the NCAA tournament this year. That's another thing that's, I think, but I agree with you, Ricky. If you're going to Michigan State, they're 19-14. I know it's Tom Izzo. He's a Hall of Fame coach. But Michigan State's not that good this year. I'm sorry. Michigan State's not that good this year. I would have left them out. I could have done without Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State was 19-14.
Yeah, they were not that good this year. I could have done without them. Actually, I would probably put Northwestern over Michigan State because at least Northwestern finished in the top 40 in the Big Ten. I can live with that. But Michigan State, I can live without Michigan State. Let me give you another one. Colorado State, I'm with you on that one. I could live without Colorado State. I mean, again, I don't know why. I could have lived without Virginia. I could have lived without Virginia. And they weren't as good as they've been in years past, but they did get into the tournament. But I think, Ricky, you're right. If they're going to value the Big East like they value them, I think they should have had more teams in the tournament. And, of course, Oklahoma also got snubbed, too. They were actually the first team out of the tournament was Oklahoma. So
I would have, but here's the thing. I didn't think Oklahoma had that strong of a schedule to begin with.
And that's probably true. And they did value the schedule. They actually valued the non-conference schedule. That's what the committee chairman said. The non-conference schedule, that's what it came down to with teams that made it, teams that did not make it.
Let's see here. I am looking at trying to look at this here. All right, so it looks like they've already come out with the men's side of the NIT bracket. I'm going to look at it real quick. That's just the printed version. All right, so it looks like Seton Hall earned the number 1 seed. St. John's has opted to be left out.
Yeah.
St. Joseph's will play Seton Hall. North Texas will play LSU. Really? Okay. Boston College will play Providence. And then Princeton, who I thought would have been an at-large bid from the Ivy League. Cannot believe they lost to Brown. They'll play UNLV, and Princeton is a 2 seed. If you go to the bottom left, Appalachia State, who is a very good men's basketball team, they will play at Wake Forest, who's the number 1 seed for the ACC. Xavier will go to Georgia. There's no way Georgia's a 4 seed. This is horrible. Richmond will play Virginia Tech. Cornell will go to Ohio State. Indiana State is a 1 seed. They will play SMU in the first round. Minnesota will go to Butler. Loyola Chicago. So glad they're not in the tournament this year. They will play Bradley. San Francisco will play Cincinnati.
You don't like Sister Jean?
I love Sister Jean. I'm tired of Loyola Chicago being in the tournament, though. I of course then got VCU, who lost to Duquesne in the championship game. How is Villanova number 1 seed for the NIT tournament?
Don't ask me. It's the NIT, Ricky.
I don't care.
Nobody's participating in it.
Oh, for the love of God! Here we go. You ready for this? Villanova. Okay, here's. Oh my gosh, Villanova finished. I'm about to pull it up right now. Where's it at? Where's
8th in their conference?
8th in their conference, and they're a number 1 seed.
It's the NIT. It's the NIT, Ricky.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Providence finished better. Providence finished worse, actually. Never mind. I just don't see how they're a 1 seed, though. That's absolutely horrible. Anyways, absolutely horrible. South Florida will go and face 4-seeded UCF. South Florida didn't make the NCAA tournament?
They did not. Nope.
What the heck is wrong with these people? South Florida was really good.
They won the regular season AAC title too. They were the number 1 seed in the AAC tournament.
Stupid UAB, I swear.
Yep, UAB beat them in the semifinals. Yep. Kansas
State will go to Iowa, and UC Irvine will go to number 2 seed Utah. That is the NIT bracket for the men. I'm waiting on results for the women. I have not seen. What's this right here? Okay, so Arkansas is in the WNIT. Okay, I see how that is. Okay. Arkansas will have to go on the road and face Tulsa in the first round. Shout out to that.
Yeah, short road trip. That's good.
Yeah, I hope they get beat.
Why not?
I'm serious. I hope they get beat. I hope Tulsa beats them.
Good.
Go Tulsa.
Go Tulsa. Yeah, go the Golden Hurricanes.
Well, I wish they would have paired them up with UCA, which I don't know if UCA is going to get in the NIT, which they should get in the NIT. Because I mean, is it the runner-up of the conference is automatically in, or how does that work for the
No,
NIT?
usually the regular season champion gets an automatic bid to the NIT. Or the NITs.
Yeah, and I think they were
they were a third seed.
They were third.
Yeah. So yeah, but Ricky hopes that I think this is a second straight year or second out of the last 3 years that the Arkansas Lady Razorbacks has made the WNIT. I think they went all the way to the quarterfinals in 2002, if I'm not mistaken. So there you go.
Yeah, I kind of wish St. John's would have
accepted the bid.
Accepted the bid.
Yeah, a bunch of teams didn't. So it's nobody on the list there. So yeah, go figure. It's also played. I know it's not played in New York anymore. I guess if it was played in New York, they might have accepted the bid, but they don't play in New York
Not
anymore.
Madison Square Garden.
But I already Madison Square. Okay, so they went back to
I,
Madison Square Garden.
I don't know if they went back or not, but I'll just say that's where it used to be. Is Madison
Yeah,
Square Garden.
yeah, it used to be in Madison Square Garden, but I don't think they played
But
at
in Madison
Madison.
Square Garden, where the Knicks
Yeah,
play.
the Garden, the Garden,
Garden.
the Garden. Yeah,
That's gonna be one of my places. That's one of the places I want to go to one day.
me too. I like that. That's a bucket list thing too.
That's gonna be a bucket list for us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we should we should see a wrestling match at Madison Square Garden.
it's Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
I have to look that up.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely have to
So
look that up.
so yeah. So anyway, so that's I guess that's the end of everything. But you got any more DAs of the week? I got some.
Yes, I got a couple. Go ahead.
Uh,
What do you got?
So my first day of the week goes to Angel Hernandez, the Cardinals manager, which I never could get the name right, and Lance Lynn. Um, first of all, Angel Hernandez ejected Lance Lynn from a spring training game. Remind you, this is spring training. Also, Marvell gets. Come on, man. What is so important about spring? This is like high school junior varsity. I mean, what is so important that you get ejected in a spring training game? And of course, it has to involve Angel Hernandez. It has to involve the worst rank umpire of last year's season. Probably going to be the worst umpire in this year's MLB rankings. Come on, man. First day of the week goes to the Cardinals and Angel Hernandez. It's absolutely stupid.
What else you got?
My second day of the week goes to I'm not going to mention any names, to the umpire that forgot to his schedule that forced me to umpire a game by myself. Yeah, man, you left me in a bind here. I do want to give a shout out to the Magnet Cove baseball coach. And also, I know this might put a bad taste in your mouth, but the Glen Rose head coach, they both were very understanding. They were both very, they both were, very good to me during the game. Now the fans, on the other hand, that's a whole different story. But that's always a thing. But I can deal with that because, like I told the coaches at home plate when we were meeting at home plate, they said, well, we're going to take it easy on you, but I can't guarantee the fans. I said, well, here's what I got to say. Number one, Jesus loves them. And number two, I'm a pastor, so I'm used to criticism. So you can do all you can. So there you go. But my second DA of the week goes to definitely the umpire that forgot his assignment for leaving me in a fine. That was absolutely awful and horrible. And my third DA of the week goes to the college football committee because they cannot decide for the left hand from the right hand, because so that we know this next season and the season afterwards, we're going to have a 12-team playoff. But starting in 2025, 2026, we're going to have a 14-team playoff, Ricky. Hey, Ricky, why don't we just do a 64-team football playoff? We might as well. I mean, that's where we're heading here because, it's all about the money. It's all.
Did I ever tell you that I actually drew up what a 64
You told me that.
look like?
You got to reveal it to us one day in this podcast.
I'm gonna work on it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you
work
got.
on it.
Yes.
So when we come back next week, which is we'll be talking about the Sweet 16. Now,
Yes.
IPCW's event next week got canceled. They announced that today, which stinks because I was really looking forward to it because it's supposed to build up to our next event. But hopefully we'll be able to do something about it. It's the site that we're at right now. It's just not looking good right now.
Oh God.
Gotta look at getting another site. So shout out to that.
Yes.
But when we come back next, I will work on this. I won't be able to work on it much this week, so it may not be this week. But the week we discuss the Final Four,
Yeah, I like that.
I may reveal that. I'll send it to the NCAA tournament committee. This is what a 64 team would look like. And it's actually quite simple. And I will tell you how I came up with the concept later. So With that being said, I will announce my DAs of the week. I've already mentioned a couple of them. My third DA of the week goes to the Chicago Bears for trading Justin Fields.
Yep.
I don't know how many times I have to shout this out. Caleb Williams is a bust.
Yes, I agree.
Not going to be a good NFL quarterback. And I hope I'm wrong.
He doesn't want to go to Chicago.
I want people to understand something about this. I never, ever, ever wish bad on anybody, especially when it comes to a kid that's coming out. He's going to fulfill his dream by becoming an NFL quarterback. To me, he's a better fit at Washington than what he will be in Chicago. Brad, my whole entire thing with Chicago, I've said this on the Terrible Football Show several times. You've seen the movie Draft Day, right?
Yep. That's it. Kevin Costner, great movie.
The GM for the Chicago Bears needs to take a piece of paper and he needs to write this down. Marvin Harrison Jr., number 1 pick, no matter what.
I agree.
Marvin Harrison, Brad, and hear me out. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the next Jerry Rice.
I can see. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he has potential if he keeps his nose clean, if he works hard, he takes all that talent that he has. I think he could be the next Jerry Rice. I'm dead serious when I say that.
Well, I will say this, Ricky. I'm not going to go that far yet, but I will say he has a better upside than, let's say, Caleb Williams. Because what has Caleb Williams really proved in college, except for, yes, he can make some spectacular plays. Yes, he can escape the pocket. But if you get him scrambling long enough, he's going to make mistakes. He is prone to mistakes, Ricky. And my thing is, I just don't get it. I think the Steelers are going to be very good for Justin Fields, though. The one thing I think about it is I think it's an advantage for Justin Fields to get into the organization that has a culture of winning under a head coach that has a culture that knows how to win games under Mike Tomlin. And he's going to, and yes, I know Russell Wilson is, no, he can be a DA many times. Yeah, he's my ultimate DA. But I think him learning under an experienced quarterback, or maybe, being in the same quarterback room as Russell Wilson, who has won a Super Bowl. Let's just give him that credit. I think it could help Justin Fields. I think it's all upside for Justin Fields. And he's going to have the receivers he needs. He's going to have the team that he needs to be able to make the playoffs. No, I think great upside for Justin Fields.
And I agree that it's definitely going to be an upside for him. The one thing with Russell Wilson, though, Brad, and I've said this many times, I've said it on both shows, football is not his number one priority.
It's not anymore. No, I agree.
It hasn't been for years, and that's why ever since I would say that ever since probably not the year they lost the Super Bowl to the Patriots, but in 2020 was the last season for me personally where I saw that Russell Wilson actually gave a damn about football. And all he really cares about now is the celebrity status that he's at right now, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But it shows on the football field. Now, have we had peaks of him? Yes, we've had some great peaks of Russell Wilson. But if Pittsburgh Steelers fans think, hey, we're about to put some damage here, no, you're not. You're not even. Right now. You might be the fourth best in your region out of 14, your division out of 4 teams. Joe Burrow's coming back next year.
Yeah.
The only downfall is that T. Higgins is looking to get out because of a contract dispute. So that right there is going to hurt them a little bit.
Mixon leaving does hurt them.
Mixon leaving does hurt them, but I don't think it hurts them as bad as what you think it does. And then Cleveland's not going anywhere.
Well, I will say this about Russell Wilson going to Pittsburgh. He cannot be as selfish as he was in Denver, as he is. He can't be as selfish.
Tomlin won't put up with it.
Mike Tomlin will not put. Yeah, exactly right. There's a culture that has already been established there in Pittsburgh. That's about. There's no I in the team. There's no celebrities. It's all about bringing your lunch pail. It's about hard work. It's that culture that's been established for years and years in the Steelers organization. And I think that could be a good thing for Russell Wilson to get back to focusing on football.
We'll
The
see.
question is though, does age catch up with him eventually? Which it has to. So I think that's going to be the issue because he's going to be 37 next year, if I'm not mistaken. So that I think that's going to probably be the bigger issue to me. But I do agree with you. His focus has not been on football, but with the Steelers, it has to be. But yeah, Chicago. Yeah, okay. What's your last D of the week?
No, I have two more DAs, but I was going to say this much more about Chicago.
Yeah,
They acquired Keenan Allen.
yeah,
Think about it. You acquire Keenan Allen. You pick up Marvin Harrison Jr.
yep,
You still have DJ Moore.
yep.
You probably need another offensive lineman. There's a possibility you can steal Brock Bowers in the draft, depending on what the Chargers do. Because I think if anybody takes a tight end in the top 10 picks, the Chargers are going to be right up there. And then you have a potential playoff team next year.
Yeah, that the only missing ingredient will be they will need a quarterback, which
That's the thing. That's why I said it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to let Justin Fields
yeah,
go so quickly.
I get what you said.
I really believe adding those weapons would have benefited him a whole lot. Keenan Allen's not getting any younger. I understand that, but Keenan Allen is still a very, very effective wide receiver in this league. But yes, I still have two more DAs, by the way. Do you have any more?
Well, I was going to say this real quick about that. I think what they could actually do, Ricky, is probably get a quarterback that's usually might be later on in his years. Maybe like a Joe Flacco or somebody like that can help him lead to be a veteran experience until they draft a quarterback. In 2025, looking to 2025 to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, Joe's already with the team.
Yeah, I know. But I think he needs somebody like that. But I think that would be a good thing for him. Um, I'm trying to find my last one, but go ahead with yours.
So my fourth one also has to deal with someone whose head is not dealing with football right now. That goes to Mr. Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers has decided that there are talks about him being a running candidate with RFK Jr. Are you out of your freaking mind? My Dallas Cowboys have more of a chance of winning the Super Bowl than you do being a vice president with RFK Jr.
Oh my gosh!
And here's the thing, Brad. Of course, I've ATFS. We do the mock drafts or whatever. Mock draft 2.0. I have the Jets taking JJ McCarthy with the 10th pick.
I can see that. I can say that.
I have 4 quarterbacks going to the top 10 this year.
Well, and if I was going back to the Bears real quick, if I was the Bears, I would probably trade my number 1 pick to go down and get a quarterback, to be honest with you, in this draft. I think that's a possibility. You could do that too.
Possibility, yes. That would mean Washington would get Caleb Williams because if Chicago doesn't get Caleb Williams, Washington's going to get Caleb Williams. But
right.
I'm 99% sure that Chicago's going to get Caleb Williams.
Yeah, did you?
I think if Caleb Williams goes 1, I've got Jaden Daniels going 2. Who do I have going 3? I have the Patriots grabbing a quarterback. Drake May. I've got Drake May going 3.
I can see that. I see that.
And then I've got a couple of linemen going in 4 and 5. The next quarterback that's going to be taken, I've got the Jets taking J.J. McCarthy. And then I think later on in the draft, Bo Nix, I think, is going to get picked up by Minnesota.
Right.
So I would have to look at my entire mock draft to be able to reveal it to you. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers is definitely. And then my last DA of the week, which I meant to, I meant to say this last week and I totally forgot about it. So The Rock was in Memphis this past Friday, and one of the things The Rock comes out and he tells us, he's like, usually I come out and trash talk the city and all this other stuff. He goes, but not Memphis. The week before he was in Glendale, Arizona, which is 10 miles outside of Phoenix. He comes out there. He says, this is a very interesting note about Phoenix, Arizona. They're the number 1 city for meth and crack in the entire United States. And it was hilarious. but the people were cheering about it. How are you going to cheer about being a oh my gosh, are you kidding me? They're like, yes, yes, that's what we're known for. Yes, because we're in Phoenix, Arizona, in the middle of the desert, like we have anything else to do.
Yeah.
You need to go back and watch that promo. It was epic, man. It was
Oh,
it was so good.
I was
Cactus
still
crack babies.
I was still yours. Actually, you told me the other week, but I actually listened to her comments. Last DA of the week, newest DA Hall of Famer goes to Kim Mulkey,
Okay.
who is the Joe Biden of the women's college basketball. Apparently, because she cannot keep her mouth shut, and she also forgets and she also stumbles and doesn't know what's coming out of her mouth. Because after the fight, she opens her mouth at the press conference and said, I wish that player pushed Angel Reese. Angel Reese was running away from the play. Come on now. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, you are the dumbest women's head coach right now. If it wasn't for the players at Baylor, it wasn't for Brittany Griner, if it wasn't for Angel Reese, it wasn't for any of them, you would not have 0 national championships. But because you had those great players, which God forbid, they somehow were convinced that I need to listen to this gibberish that sounds like Joe Biden. I mean, it just absolutely floods my mind that she would say that. Don Staley at least had a lot of class after she said, listen, that's not who we are. That's not our team. But this idiot, I wish she pushed Angel Reese. What an idiot. DA Hall of Famer, Kim Mulkey.
So now I will say this much about Kim Mulkey because I know exactly the situation you're talking about. Because I watched that part as well. One of the things she pointed out was that she wished the bigger girl would not have pushed the smaller girl. That's where she was trying to get at. But here's the thing: that smaller girl was bowing up to everybody.
Yeah, she elbowed one of the teammates.
I would have done the same thing. I don't care how big or small you are. I'd have chunked you over like you were a redheaded stepchild.
Exactly.
It's just goodness gracious.
Kim Mulkey,
Kim
the
Mulkey.
Joe Biden of women's college basketball. Congratulations.
And I picked them to repeat this year. What the heck was I thinking?
You might be right. They might stumble into the Final Four to the national championship.
But here's the thing, though, Brad. Last year they had 3 losses. They were a 3 seed with 3 losses. Nobody said everybody counted them out last year, and we'll see. But I think the biggest issue that LSU's had is not necessarily Kim Mulkey, and I'm just being honest with you. I think it's more Angel Reese than it is anything.
I agree. I 100% agree.
The fame and the money's gotten to her head. She's one of those NIL deal makers. Now I'm telling you, when basketball gets off your mind, or the respective sport that you play, it's getting off your mind. I'm telling you.
Well, LSU just announced one of their players, Poole, is transferred out of LSU. She's entered the transfer portal. Of course, they had the star player from Louisville transfer into LSU and everything else. I don't disagree with that. I think Angel Reese is a lot of the issue as well. And apparently there was an issue because during the season she didn't play 5 games, I believe, or maybe 6 games. I can't remember how many exactly, but she didn't play a handful of games. And of course, Kim Mulkey makes the matters worse. Why didn't she play? Well, you figure it out. Or, just being just very arrogant and narcissistic to the media, which is, again, dumb, absolutely dumb. It's just like, it blows my mind that Kim Mulkey, how she has won 3 national championships, that she can do some of the dumbest things I've seen a coach do in one season. I said this last week. Pat Summitt has to be rolling her grave right now with this. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this is stupid. I mean, I don't even know. Kim Mulkey.
I think, but see, that's the thing with Pat Summitt, though. I don't know if Pat Summitt would have been able to deal with this NIL crap.
Well, and that's true. And Gino Auriemma, I think this is it for him. I think he's already pretty much said.
You think he's going to retire after this year?
Yeah, well, he made the comment that, no, I'm not going to be the all-time wins leader. I'm not going to get there. Because I think he's like Nick Saban. No, I think he's done with all this stuff. he's made public comments about how the players are entitled, how hard it is to coach these players these days. It's almost like, you know, you used to be able to, they used to come to the school because they want prestige and stuff. Now they want to come to the school. Well, how much can you offer me for money? How much can you do this? And I think he's just tired of it, just like a lot of people are, and I don't know if you know this or not, but Nick Saban testified in front of Congress about the NIL this past week.
I did not know
Uh,
that.
yeah, he did, and he was on Fox special report being interviewed about this NIL stuff and everything else. And people are just tired of it. It's not college sports like we know it. And here's another thing: it's affecting the sports that is not major, but that provides an education for those athletes. Like track and field, like
The one thing that I understand from this though, Brad, this is something that you have to take away.
mhm.
Johnny Manziel did it. Johnny Manziel did that interview with Shannon Sharp. And
Yeah,
one
I
of the things
listened.
one of the things he said was that number 2 jersey started flying off the shelf.
Oh
And
yeah,
even though they didn't say Manziel on it,
yeah,
yeah,
I knew
we
who it
all know,
was.
it's like number 5 for Arkansas. We know who number 5 for Arkansas is,
Yeah,
Darren McFadden.
I
And
agree.
so that's they've got to come up with they got to come up with the system
Well,
that
Nick
that, con,
Saban,
that maybe deals with them when they get out of college. I mean,
yeah,
I understand giving them a stipend or
mm,
something like that to live off of, because I both know it's a business.
yeah,
It's a business. But to me, and you're the same way that I am, when it comes to these players, they're student athletes. I understand the NCAA makes money off of it. I
right,
understand that these colleges make money, these colleges, universities make money off of it. But this is an opportunity to get their name in the national spotlight where they're paying their dues to get to the big time. It's like
yeah,
WWE. You
hmm
got WWE at the very, very top. You got AEW, who's underneath them, TNA, who's at the bottom, and then you have these independent indies. These independent indies, like you'd be surprised how many egos are in some of these indies. Now,
oh yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I have not had to see as many egos with IPCW. I haven't had to see many. Of course, we just started Vapors Championship Wrestling. I haven't had to see hardly any ego so far dealing with that per se, but
mm,
there are egos in the indies. They don't make very much money. You watch documented wrestlers that talks about OVW.
I have.
They don't make very much money,
No, they don't.
but they do it because they love it. It's their dream to get to the very top. You
Yeah,
have to pay your dues. If
yeah.
you're not willing to pay your dues, you don't deserve to get to the top.
Well, I think what Nick Saban suggests, and I like this idea, is a revenue sharing type of format. Something where that, like Johnny Manziel, he gets his jersey sold off of that. Well, guess what? He gets some revenue because of that. Not because of NIL, not because he gets paid to play, but he gets a share of the jerseys that's being sold. The TV rights that's being sold to the University for football because like Johnny Manziel when he played, that Texas A&M was on TV. Well, why were they on TV a lot? Well,
Johnny
Johnny
Manziel.
Manziel, Johnny Manziel.
They
No, he
could have
gets
they could have been 0-12, and Johnny Manziel would have fixed it.
yeah,
Like Johnny football.
exactly. So I think a revenue type sharing type of format I think would be good. And they got to eliminate this pay for play. And that's what's happening right now, Ricky. And a lot of coaches are tired because here's the thing, players are now saying, well, you know, I don't want to play for this team anymore because I'm not getting paid enough. Other team here's offering me 2 million. Well, I'm only getting 1 million here. I mean, it just like, you know, Nick Saban said it best. I mean, I watched this interview. You got to watch the interview. He said, we used to recruit players who would come in because they could bring value to the team and we could bring value to, them about having them play, have them get an education, and also having them use their talents to go to the NFL in the future. But now it's like they come in here asking, well, how much money are I going to receive, coach, for playing? He said, that's not right. There's
No,
something wrong with that picture.
they're not. It's not the NFL. It's
It's
not
not the
the NFL.
NFL.
And there's an issue I have with the NBA, the NFL, and Major League Baseball right now. And that, of course, that's another subject for another day. But because I'm just saying, there's a reason. What's that old proverb that says money is the root of all evil?
Yep.
There's a reason for that.
Yep.
There's a reason.
Sermon on the Mount. Yep. The money is the root of all evil. Yeah.
Money is the root of all evil. There is a reason for that. Read the Bible, people. Goodness gracious. All right. So that's it for DAs of the week. That was the longest DA of the week section that we've ever had in our entire life. That we've ever had in the history of the show, but that's okay. So all right, so be sure to not only join our ESPN tournament challenge, but hit that like and subscribe button as you deal with. And we are going to try to do better the next time. Brad, I am heading out. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. I'm going on a cruise tomorrow. This episode should be posted sometime tomorrow morning.
God bless, my friend.
God bless everybody, and we'll see y'all next time. Until then, that's all from Nooner and Forest. Good night, everybody.